I had usually I've got kind of time to like sit down and do like a semi good job, but this time I
You've
did
been a
not.
bit busy.
Yeah, yeah, cranking. All right, we are. I believe we're live. Yeah, we're 11 seconds into this thing, so a little bit of a change up here. Um, Internet at the house broke, so I'm here at the shop. Dave, good to see you, dog.
Yeah, you too. How you doing?
I think I don't see anyone on here. That's pretty odd. I wonder if I broke things again. It seems likely that we've got. Usually we have a couple folks jump right in with this. I wonder if I posted the wrong link.
Oh,
Totally
that's
possible.
somebody.
Are you seeing anything on the YouTube side? I never have that up. I only just run this.
No, I never have it running, but I can see that there's one person viewing, according to the little.
Cool. Well, I probably just sent it to the wrong place. Oh, I know what I did. Oh wait, no, I don't think I did. I think I did it right. I must have screwed something up. Fuck it. Okay. Let me pull BFG Neil off there. It's just you and me. So we were just talking about what's kind of going on this week. Um, Talk me through the chain halt, dude. What happened?
Well, yeah, things were going so well for like 6 or 7 weeks. Everything was absolutely perfectly stable. We had a bit of a halt last week, and things obviously dropped off quite significantly. After that halt was restarted, not so many validators came back online. So they took a little while to come back online. So we were running around 2,800, 2,900 validators post last week's chain halt. Pre last week's chain halt, rather. Post last week's chain halt, we dropped down to about 1,500 validators. And the consequences of that were that we dropped the number of beacons that were being transmitted every day. So we roughly halved the number of beacons that were going out from hotspots because validators weren't serving the challenges. So as a result of that, a lot of people got more rewards than they were used to, which is happy days. Apart from the people that weren't getting any at all, because the validators simply weren't challenging. And then a couple of days ago, there was a fix that was pushed out, and that fixed things for a very short period. We went back up to like 2,800 validators. Everything was good. Then all of a sudden, things went south a little bit. I've not had a full investigation, but the guys issued a validator update a couple of days ago. Everything was good. They went to bed. When they woke up, it wasn't so good. I've been speaking to somebody today. It looks like multiple chains were created, which is never ideal.
No,
So
optimal, right?
yeah, so unfortunately, a consequence of that was our ETL was on one of the chains that wasn't the official chain. So we've now got a bit of a job to rebuild the ETL, as with a few other people with their nodes and validators, I believe. So yeah, I think things are a bit broken at the moment. And then this afternoon, I think an hour ago maybe, another chain halt was declared after a couple of long blocks today. So things are they're not looking great at the moment.
The rocks.
But but um, I guess this is another Nova going, well, this is why we don't want our own L1, because they wouldn't have to deal with this type of outage. So there's hope for Solana to sort of resolve some of these issues, but at the moment things are very broken. It's back to the lottery days, although your lottery winnings are significantly less than they used to be. But people are getting excited that they're getting 2 HNT a day, where normally they'd get 0.1. So every cloud has a silver lining. But I'd much rather see a stable chain, obviously. But the last couple of days I've not been able to get any data because of the halt, so I've got no updates other than to say, yeah, it's broken. Devs are working on it. We'll see what comes out of it. Hopefully things return to back the way they were a couple of weeks ago, and we get some stability through to the migration.
Yeah, and migration was supposed to happen like November, December was the last that I
I think towards the end of the year was the plan, but I've not seen any updates on that.
Right. No, I don't know. I think it's just such like a big, difficult thing that thinking the end of the year is going to work is pretty
It's
hopeful.
quite optimistic. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Ultra optimistic.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's kind of nice. It's just you and me. We'll see if Neil or Daniel shows up. I know both those guys are busy, or Paul. Um, but yeah, it's good to hang out with you. So let's see. We've got this helium. I might as well just brainstorm with the crew here today. I see Kevin's on and Bo. Bo, I think I'm going to see you pretty soon. Dave, I'm certainly going to see you.
Yep.
Um, is we got this helium in the wild thing coming in London, and I'm putting it together. And I don't know if Dave, you and I have talked about it, but I wanted you to come up or come down, I guess, and because you come south to London,
I do come south to London. Yeah.
come down
Good
and
geography.
analytics. So
Yeah, absolutely. So I saw you sent a message yesterday, sort of giving some ideas about what you'd like to see. Had a little bit of a think about it, but not too much. I've been a bit busy at work today. But yeah, I think we can talk a little bit about data analytics and how we can use that to make some decisions within the IoT space, which is what you're sort of angling for. So I think we can come up with something there and see if that is useful for people.
yeah,
If anybody desperately wants any other angle on data and analytics, then shout up, and I'm sure Nick can brief me, and we can serve what people actually want.
yeah, we can actually talk about. Oh, thanks, Kevin. I don't know how I'm screwing up these links. Like this software is just Ecamm Live, and it makes it most of the time super easy. But yeah, this time was not easy. So you're going to see me like setting up the camera stuff. And I'm really not setting up camera stuff because I give a shit about right now. Red Sky, what's up, Nikki? But I'm actually practicing for the London event. So I figured like, hey, I might as well just do this live and you guys can see me screw the whole thing up. So Dave, one of the things that you and I have been talking about, and I've also been talking to Matthew Starwatcher about, is the gaming thing. Did we
Yeah,
talk about this last State of the Network? I know we talked about it on the Gristle crew, or the Gristle crew and I talked about it. I don't think we talked about it last week, did we?
I don't think so. It's been 7 sleeps since then, so I
Yeah.
can't remember.
So the general idea is, in fact, it's nice to have 619 on here because 619 has been kind of one of the leading people saying like, 50% of rewards are going to gaming. And I've been on the other side saying like, it's probably like 10% or less. But then I started looking into it, and thank you 619 for getting me on the links. Appreciate that. Is that it's probably somewhere in between. And Dave, when we looked at it, and this blog has yet to be published, it's coming out maybe today if I can get all the work done. What's up, Dustin? Is what was it? It's like 9%. So the way we looked at it was two ways, right, Dave? We looked at how much HNT has gone to hotspots who are on the deny list.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so we looked at that as a percentage of the total rewards. That is for hotspots, validators, and investors, and that came out around 9%. Since January this year, and we looked at just the percentage for hotspots, so the 50,000 HNT per day, and we came out around 13%, something like that.
Wait, say the last one again. I forget that.
It was around 13%, I think, if I remember rightly.
And that was what was the date that was since?
Yeah, so that was just hotspot rewards. So
That's right.
out of the 50,000, yeah.
Right. So there's some distinctions between like cheating hotspots, and then there are rewards that go to validators, and then what's up, Gregory? There are rewards that go to HST folks. So we tried to split it out to see like what's the actual number, and as close as we've come so far, which is not all the way that we need to go, is just figuring out the hotspots that are on the deny list. But yeah. I think, and correct me if my logic is not good enough here, Dave, but I think the better number that we'll get for how much HNT has been gamed is going to be how many hotspots were reported to CrowdSpot, whether or not they got on the deny list. Because it seems pretty likely to me that every hotspot that got reported to CrowdSpot within, I don't know, a couple percentage is probably cheating.
Yeah, and then there are probably more that haven't been reported, and have got some method of disguising themselves at the moment. And part of the problem recently has been this targeting bug, and whether people are actually actively taking advantage of that. There are a quite a large number that are sending a lot of beacons every day, so it would be wrong to think that they're not actually actively involved in that. So that there's more hotspots there that could potentially go on the deny list, but I guess they don't meet the other criteria that Starwatcher and the guys looking at the deny list are actually using. I think we spoke and we figured maybe another 6 or 7%, so we'd take it up to around 20% of the total rewards are going to gamers, which it's not an ideal situation. And props to the guys that have been managing the deny list to put, I think there's like 130,000 on the deny list, something of that order.
Yeah.
So we can only imagine how much they would have gamed had they not been on the deny list. So all we looked at is what they've currently done. If they'd have still been on the deny list, that percentage would have been significantly more. So.
Yeah. Yep. So I guess what the conclusion we're coming to right now, without all the data, is that somewhere between, let's say, I don't know, 13 and 22% of all HNT is going to gamers.
Yeah. Since January this year, yeah.
Yep.
So obviously there's been an effort. There's been an effort since sort of January where people have been adding to the deny list. It's grown significantly. So I would hope that things are getting better with so many on the deny list. But yeah, we'll have to keep looking at the data and see how that pans out.
Fingers crossed on that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I've been talking to Matthew, and here's the kind of crazy thing to me is that they can't really talk about what they're doing because it just makes it easier for gamers to figure it out.
Yep.
I will tell you that when I talk to them, they always have new ideas, and what's up, Jay? They're always like, hey, what do you think about this? And from my side as like a non-technical dude, it's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Try it. But that's really easy to say. It's not particularly easy to actually implement.
No, and the process as it is at the moment is still very manual. I know their Starwatcher is trying to automate things a little bit more, but there's a significant amount of work in doing that, and you have to be pretty confident that you are denying people that should be denied and that you don't get any false positives. So,
right on. Thanks, Brian. I fixed my.
Appreciate that. It's a bit of a thankless task, really.
Yeah, and I wanted to do a little bit of a highlight on it today, just to say, like, to make sure people know, like, hey, A, it's being worked on, and B, everybody working on it knows it's not finished. Like, there's other than me, which I'm just like a total, sunshine Pollyanna. Everyone else is like, yeah, there's a problem and we're fixing it. I'm just like, oh no, it's going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that there are obvious issues with the gaming, and people aren't gaming to hold their HNT, shall we say? So I think that there are obvious implications that we're seeing with the price. So
so talk me through that, because if I'm getting that right, you're saying basically they're gaming it and selling it, and that's keeping the price depressed because there's so many sellers.
Yeah. So I suspect strongly that they're just trying to get their ROI for their gaming hotspots and selling immediately, rather than holding on to it with the hope that the price is going to go up. So they're only interested in making their money now. So,
all right, which is like fair. I get that from the gaming perspective. It's not great for the price, but it just means. Here's the other thing with the whole price thing. And what I'm doing in the background for those of you who just coming here is trying to get my camera set up. So I can practice for this upcoming event. I'm, as of right now, totally prepared for technically, but woefully unprepared for in practice. So you get to watch me practice and fiddle with cables and cameras and things of that nature. Okay. So I guess where I was going with that was it like this the the price doesn't matter right now as long as you hold on to it. Like if you don't sell your HNT now, you are not affected by the gamers. So no big deal.
No, not unless you're a bit twitchy about things and want to bail, which would be a ridiculous thing to do, but that's how the markets work, isn't it? They depress the price and count on people bailing, weak hands.
Yeah. Oh, I'm managing to slow everything down, and I got Neil coming in. Huh. I don't think this Ecamm Live thing was super useful. We may switch back to just a regular camera. Stand by. All right. That seems to work better. Neil, I've got you coming in. I see that you're in a green room? No, that can't be right. How do I bring in? This is just, it's like embarrassing how bad I am at this stuff sometimes. You'd think I'd be like an
Well, you are when you're at home.
Yeah. When everything's working, I'm okay. At least acceptable. All right, Neil, I can see you. You got your little label. I don't see how anything could possibly go wrong from here.
Cool.
What's up, dog?
Never. Yeah, not bad. Sorry I'm late. I've just been getting over COVID.
Okay. I'm betting over COVID. Okay. Well, don't bring that to London. You just finish getting over that stuff and then come down. Yeah. So Neil, we've got you on the list as well as Dave for speaking at London. So the London folks, like you're going to talk about TrackPack and building a business on Helium. The whole London event is all around how to build an IoT business in and on and around Helium. I'm super excited to kind of hear what you have to say, and I think we'll go over a little bit dialing in. But I've got Adrian from Linksdot is coming on. He's going to be on a panel with, I think, Sky, and then Adrian from Helium Foundation is coming on. He's going to talk a little bit about Helium Foundation. And then Bill from Novacine is going to come on and talk about this IoT business he's been running for the past 10 years around the world.
It should be a good show.
Yeah, there's one other... Go ahead.
Should be a good day, that's all I was going to say.
Yeah. I can see I may need to either use Lee's computer, which is significantly newer than mine, or I need to buy a new computer myself, because this thing can't handle all this shit I'm throwing at it. Which is funny. What's going on what's new with you, Neil? We talked about Chain Halt. Dave and I talked about Chain Halt and gaming, but what's going on in your world?
Okay. Nothing new for me really. It's just same old, building businesses and getting the word of Helium out there. I'm really excited for the IoT into Wild. We've never really done a Helium UK meetup, so it should be really nice to see some faces that couldn't make it to New York. And I think there's enough of us to do a really good show, right?
Yeah. I haven't looked at the total numbers yet. The RSA House is kind of badgering me now about how many people I'm bringing. I'm like, dude, I paid you guys the money. Don't worry about it. Just open and get there. But I actually extended an invite to Soren. I emailed him and said, like, hey, Soren, come on out. Let's all get to meet you. And we'll see if he actually comes out or not. But I think that'd be funny. So that'd be good. And then Adrian at Helium Foundation, I think it's Adrian Clint, had said he'd pointed me the way of this lady in London who's like a big IoT speaker there. So I'm trying to get her to come out as well, because I think it's one of the things I'm seeing with Helium is it's pretty important to get the TTN folks and like kind of IoT in general folks who are all on the outside, but not as, I don't know, deep into it as we are, to get in here and start talking about that's what we can do.
There are so many companies that are using LoRaWAN right now that just don't use Helium. We had a talk with one of Helium's drone partners yesterday. There's just this huge wave of business that doesn't really know about Helium yet, really. They want 100% uptime SLAs. They want that kind of like traditional business world that are using LoRaWAN that can now extend their range. Look at Senate, for example, in New York, they extended their range by about 25% from using Helium. So it just seems like a win-win. Like, that kind of network only works when there's hotspots, but, put hotspots where you need them. But then, if you need data off-site, then just totally use Helium. Makes so much sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there's enough of them around, especially around London, for some pretty awesome coverage, which hopefully we'll get when you send the mappers out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually want your help with that, guys. Is that I think you can find. I was trying to update the address on the of the RSA house today on the blog, and then my internet at the house went out, which is why I'm here. Let's see. Hack is telling me to get on the Apple M1 course. Yeah, I'll just pop down and spend another $4,000 on a fucking computer.
Just drop by Neil's office and borrow his.
Yeah. Spend $7,000 on a Mac. It works fine, honest.
Yeah. I don't see how I'm living without this. Lee is just like, what are you spending this money on? I'm like, I'm trying to get all the camera equipment rad so that we have good video and you're not looking at what you're looking at now, which is my fucking 2013 laptop camera, which is all this little computer can handle. I wanted your help with let's set out some points and hotspots and landmarks. So the way I'm thinking of it for the mapping event, the Here Be Dragons thing, which I'd meant to put a link in the YouTube description, then got behind, because you can now buy a Solana NFT for it for like $5. So that's whatever, 4 pounds, 3 pounds. You don't have to have the NFT to do the event. I just thought, I think what I'll do, and this is just a thought right now, is take all of the event, whatever fees, the $5 each, and there's only 49 or 79 tickets or something, and then randomly give them to one winner. So you put your $5 in, it's just a little bit of a lottery. I'm sure that's illegal, but I mean, it's a lottery. Fucking come get me.
That swear jar's filling up today, Nick.
Yeah. No, it's luckily I don't have the jar next to me, so these all are just uncounted. Let's see. There's a Beedon 1 on here. Is that Beedon, England? That's a tiny little village that, if I'm remembering right, my mom grew up in. Might just be Beed on 1. But asking, is there a partnership with 5G providers that should be shared more? I don't know. They're asking.
I wasn't sure. I saw the question and I saw my name, but I'm not sure what they meant.
Yeah. Beedon 1, I don't think there's a partnership with 5G that hasn't been widely shared yet. I mean, T-Mobile is the big name. I don't know what else is in there.
The new video is good for 5G, but talking about the whole thing. But they're talking about marketing for it. But yeah, there's not really services for it, is there? It's more about converting existing cell phone plans, not new technology running on it.
Right. No, there's nothing super amazing right now. One of the guys on the Gristle crew, Russ, had a suggestion for me to ask you guys, Dave and Neil. He'd said, what do you guys recommend someone do this week to somehow participate in or contribute to the Helium network? Can be some tiny little thing, can be some giant thing, like whatever it is. If you had a suggestion, you meet someone who's in the Helium community and you're like, oh, here's what you could do this next week. Dave, I'll start with you. What do you think it would be?
Fix the chain? No, sorry. Something realistic.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest thing you can do is start getting into sensors. So build yourself a sensor, get on the network, get using the network, and then tell all your friends about it, and get them using the network. It doesn't have to be in any massive way. Just get something that you can demonstrate to people and say, look, this is really cool. So Neil sent me some. He sent me some trackers, and basically I use them. I help Neil sort of test the network, and then I've given them to other people and say, go away and use it. And I've got one guy, he tracks his dog, but his dog's a bit old now, so he doesn't really go very far. I've got a tracker in my wife's car, so I know where she is at all times. Just sort of, just sort of get into a sensor and look at the different things that you can do with the sensors. So it's not just limited to trackers even. So there was a guy attacked me a couple of weeks ago. He wanted to check for leaks in his house, water leaks. Well, he's a plumber, but he wanted to do it initially in his house, and he wanted to develop a sensor that could easily detect water leaks. So we had a bit of a talk, and we decided that one way he could do it is just use a microphone on a sensor and listen for the noise of the water going through the pipe. As a custom solution for it. There are ways of doing it with ultrasonics, but a cheap way is to sort of just listen to the pipes. So he was going to go away and start looking at that and developing his own simple sensor that he could deploy within his business. So yeah, just spread the word, get some sensors made, and attend some events.
It always comes down to simple stuff, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, there is no complicated stuff, really.
Neil,
Right.
over to you. Where do we get a tracker?
Where do you get a tracker? Yeah, you can try trackpack.io if you want to try tracking on Helium. But there are loads of different makes. So my favourite store is Connected Things in the UK. They've got a range of great LoRaWAN sensors. So you just type in LoRaWAN Class A, and you can find sensors for basically anything. If you're really into that kind of thing, I always recommend the rack kits, the rack development kits. You get 2 boards, you could make a mapper, and then you could, make a door sensor or anything you want out of the other one. So once you make a basic one, you can go to the GitHub and there's a whole library for them. You can make anything really. So once you understand how to do it one type of sensor, you can do it with anything.
They're compatible with any of the sensor kits you can pick up on Amazon, where you got like 37 sensors for 30 quid. You can plug anything into them. There's flame sensors and temperature sensors and noise sensors, anything you can think of in one of these packs, and they're all compatible with the development kit or any other board that you get. So it's a cheap way to get into it. I guess that's how Neil got into it, really.
Yep. Let's see, Andrei Yakovenko. Dude, you're back. That's my Ukrainian homie. Coverage isn't sufficient for tracking solutions. I did mapping yesterday around Toronto and Niagara Falls, and it sucks. Put in more hotspots, dog. There should be a lot out there.
Yeah, yesterday probably wasn't the best day to be trying to track anything.
I mean, no, actually, in Toronto, there should be a fucking boatload.
Yeah, they sound like really popular places to have hotspots, but without seeing them, I wouldn't be able to say. But generally, coverage in the UK, coverage across Europe, coverage in most major cities, a lot of population is covered. So, my wife took a trip the other day to take the dog to the boarding kennel for the weekend. And, she lost some coverage on the way there because she was in the middle of nowhere. But, it still picked her up there and then come straight back as soon as she entered near population. So you still get the pretty maps and you know where the thing is. So, you've got to know, do you need to know where that thing is 24/7, or do you just need to know where it roughly is whilst it's moving, So, yeah, there are some edge locations that need more coverage, but there are different solutions to that.
To do all that, yeah. Huh.
Regarding your question about how people can help, contribute to the network, there's so many different things that they can do as well. If you're really good at writing documentation, help out with the docs. They always need help. There's always pages that are left behind there. Help other users. That's always a good one. I did that for years. Just sit in the hotspot help room and just talk to people through it. Give my advice and try and help them make sure that they're getting the antenna set up right. A lot of people come in and say, "Oh, my hotspots are dead. It's a network," but really, most of the time, it's something to do with their setup. So just giving them a hand to make sure they get past these things is always helpful. But if you do have the ability to create sensors and stuff, build a proof of concept and something. Solve a problem. Make sure that problem needs to be solved by a lot of people, not just the odd person. And take it into a business, you know?
Yeah. Oh. Did I miss the last part? I may have. I'm busy breaking things here as I do these various fucking audio tests. I can see that I don't have technology licked quite yet. But yeah, solving the problem. That was like
Well,
the last I heard, which is the correct correct answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as Vision Grid said, you know, we're talking to providers that have whole countries covered in coverage. They're going carrier grade installation, you know, on towers. You can go across most of Europe like that. So it's unbelievable how good the coverage is. I just wouldn't have launched a product I didn't feel comfortable with. You know, most of the population is covered, which is just unbelievable, and it's just not getting enough use considering what it can do. You know, I think it's like, yeah, it's not for everyone, but if you've got that technical ability, you can do so well right now. You know, I came from an industry which is web hosting, and if you weren't innovating quickly, you were left behind and you weren't growing. But the amount of other companies that you were competing against is unbelievable. But here, you could you could create a door sensor, you know, that's just telling if the doors are open or closed. But there isn't an app for that at the moment, and you could do wonders with it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's crazy how much isn't done. One thing
The
that
hardware just connecting the two, you know, it's like hardware door sensors there. There's the ability to create a dashboard, link the two, and put a marketing website up, and you've got yourself a good little business, you know. And it's just about finding those problems. And like, you know, I can look at an industry and say, oh, they might have this problem, but unless you're in that industry, you wouldn't know that problem needs to be solved. You know, like talking. I've always loved the idea of you know, put a sensor in every bin out on public streets, so you would know when the sensor is when the bin is full or not, and save them time and money to be able to do that. But you wouldn't save them money because they're just paid a set wage to go and empty those bins. So it's not improving services and it's not improving their bottom line. So it's not a good business. But if I'd have just gone for that, I wouldn't have known that. It was when you have that industry knowledge to know this is going to affect their bottom line, it's worth doing. So you probably have some of that knowledge, and you can take some of those sensors that are out there and say, right, this is what we're going to do to improve things for our industry.
You say it wouldn't affect the bottom line. It would help them gather the data to be able to determine whether that was the case or not.
I always think improving it would improve their you know their public facing image because they're doing a better job. But in reality, it doesn't save them any money, and if anything, it might mean that people lose jobs. You know, so they wouldn't want to take that into the industry.
Yeah, but there's all sorts of applications around smart cities that people are looking at, but it doesn't appear to be very developed at the moment. And if you can come up with a novel solution, then
and really just get out and hit the pavement and sell it. Like I think I talked last week about the dude Leo, who's a UK guy. And everyone was asking, like, oh, how are you going to get... We were talking about Hive Mappers at that event. And everyone was like, oh, how are you going to get Hive Mappers in the hands of Uber drivers? Did I tell this story? I think I did. Yeah. And he's like, I'm just going to go get a bunch of Uber rides and hand them Hive Mappers and hand them a contract and tell them to do it. Like, the only thing that's stopping you from being successful right now with Laura, with Helium, is work. Like, that's it. There's not a technical, not a technical problem that, a normal person needs to work on. Certainly there are technical problems that advanced technical skill people are working on, but it's like all you got to do is do the work, is go and figure out, like, how do you connect this thing, how do you connect that thing, ask for help. Anyone on Discord will help you. And goddamn, if you've got an IoT business and you want to talk about it, come tell me about it. I will put it on State of the Network. I'll talk about it. Like, I think this stuff is awesome. I'll help you however I can. So yeah, there are no obstacles to you winning right now.
But effort, I don't want to put effort in. Can someone do it before me?
Yeah,
that seems to be the thing.
Well,
I've said it for a while.
You're doing it for me.
There's so many opportunities here. It's just like you just pick one and go for it. Like, I'm not worried about my hotspot income because I've got other businesses, and I don't think, anyone that went huge into the hotspot business realized that they needed to go into, others. And they're slowly starting to see that, we've got something like 10 white labels in the work with TrackPack now. And new distributors all the time. And it's just people realizing, hotspot sales are slowed down. We've got to do something else now. And, we've got all these gateways in. How do we use it? So there's so many people like looking to get into using sensors like this, but they just don't quite know what they're doing with them,
Right.
So I talked to someone today and they're putting brow and tabs in, and it was one that's temperature sensor. Someone was talking about, here's this great temperature app, they'd be able to get it into way more quickly, and you can make a few bucks on the side.
Yeah.
How many new leads are you getting, Neil, with your TrackPack endeavours? Are you finding businesses coming to you and going, "Well, you've done this for us. What else is there? We've got this problem."
Yeah, it's a case of everything that's done. There's just like extra bits that they realize they love as well, like what's the best example? Yeah, the best example is probably the RV or the caravan. There are already tracking solutions for these things. They are in the UK, for at least, Thatcham approved. So that means that they get a discount on their insurance because they're an approved reseller. But what they were saying is, oh, well, what if you did things like, monitor how full the grey tank is, monitor how full the water tank is, attach all these different services. Another great one was have a proximity sensor for the dog. So if the dog goes too far away from the RV or caravan, you would know. And those kind of services, go on top of it's not just tracking then, there's, an actual RV solution which will make a difference. So that's just happening quite a lot. It's the same with boats and marinas. They would like another range of sensors to make that happen. There's so many different needs out there that no one's doing them. So leave it long enough, I'll do them.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see some. A big one I've always wanted to see was clean air. I really, really want some clean air, a clean air solution out there. But kind of like what Mappers is for mapping network coverage.
Yeah.
I would like to see a powered network of clean air solutions on Helium, and then extend that into businesses where they can put it in schools to make classrooms better, and put it into workplaces so people work better.
Yeah. No, you're gonna see some pretty rad stuff at Helium, the London Helium in the Wild thing. That's what Bill at Novascene's been doing.
It's a crazy business. It really is. There's so much to it, and it's just like, it's real life-changing stuff.
Yeah. I'll look
something. Yeah, something I've wanted to do is get it in a STEM program and get kids building sensors in schools and potentially competing against other schools in the area and sharing data between them. It's the future of what we want to do. We want kids involved. They come up with. I was a design and technology teacher, and kids come up with the most amazing ideas because they think really simply. They don't try and overcomplicate things. They go, well, I need to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it. And they may lack the skill to actually implement it, but they've got the most fantastic ideas. So yeah, I'd like to see sort of more in schools.
Love it. Now, maybe I'll find like a local school and just sponsor something. Be like, hey, what do you guys need? How can I help you? One of the things we're doing at GK is I'm very, very pleased with myself. Is we just hired. I told my dad this, and he's like, "You did what?" We hired an engineer, super part-time, but a local engineer. And I said, like, "Hey, look, I want a couple hours a month, and I've got all these ideas. I don't know how to do it. I want you to do it, and then we'll show everybody what we did." And so I think the first project is he's got this idea. I think it's a gate or door opener, and he's hooking it up to lights so that when your gate opens outside at night, the lights come on. Like super simple stuff. I don't know what the sensors are going to cost, maybe $40, and then we'll just open source it and show you how to do it. And if you can sell that and take that and run with it, great. So,
Yeah, I think that's a great business. Stuff like that as well, with what's coming with Chirp Stack and Class C, just means that you can start doing things like that. Saw a really great example that was detecting gas buildup inside of houses and turning the valve off if there's a gas leak.
Yep.
Like, sounds so simple, but it's such a cheap sensor to make, but it makes such a massive difference. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Many ways to skin many cats. I mean, it's funny because I started talking. This guy's Dirk. I don't know if Dirk's been on the show. He's certainly been talking to the Gristle crew, and I've talked about him before. But I was like, hey, what do you want to work on first? I think we got time for kind of one project a month, and we instantly have like 15 projects to work on. It's like, okay, well, let's just do one. Let's start with this gate thing. But I think, yeah, there's so much to do that's super exciting. That is, like Neil said, it's not like it's impossible to do or you have to do crazy innovation. You just have to connect a sensor to a dashboard to an app so that people can use the data.
and that's the thing. You don't need the app straight away. That's pipe dream stuff. That's big stuff. When you've got a bit of time going, what you need to do straight away is find the easiest and cheapest way for you to prove that you can solve the problem. And
Yeah.
then when you realize you've got something that people want, then you start building the extra work. So, to get to that stage of having a proof of concept really should cost you about $5 plus whatever the cost of the sensors are.
Right. Plus,
And a month or so, and a bunch of time, yeah. But once you've got that, then you've got everything you need, for less than $100 to get started with a proof of concept. Make sure it works. Take it to other people and say, look, I've got this solution, which is what we did with like hacks and stuff. And then boom, you've got a business out of it.
what's an STM? What's Travis talking about? He says he's talking about using cheap blue pill STMs with LoRaWAN.
It's like a cheap radio. It's just cheap. It's a cheap board, basically.
Okay. So like a little SBC single board computer, like a little Pi Zero or something. Like
I've never used them. I think there's a blue pill and a red pill. I think there's different brands, and they're talking about different radios, if I remember rightly.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah, Travis, if you got a link, drop it in. Let's see, Bobby. I see you're in the house now. You're back with your Super Bowl commercial thing. I love the intensity. I would like to see a Super Bowl commercial when we have something that I think 30 million people could look at once and be ready for it. That's when I think it's appropriate to do a Super Bowl thing. Right now, we've got the like this chain halt just happened. You asked about that as well. We talked about it like it happened. It's going to be fixed. It's kind of the usual stuff of a growing network. So,
yeah, it's unfortunate. It's been so steady for so long, but then to halts as quickly as they happen. But these things often come together when changes are made, don't they? So it's just one of those things.
yeah. Beden's saying, is there a holding pen idea space of sorts for the community? So if I'm understanding that right, like, is there basically a page where people have said, hey, this is a good idea, who wants to work on it? That's kind of a cool idea. I'm happy to host that on Gristle King. Like I can put together you just throw your idea in and then maybe like figure out a way to contact you. Maybe you have some expertise in it and you find someone else who's good at it too. That'd be cool.
I think it's something we've touched on before, isn't it? That you don't have to have all the skills to develop this. That there are plenty of people to collaborate with, and that's what it's all about. It's all about getting people's head together to solve these ideas.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see, Dustin, how's the trail people counter going? Right now, I haven't done anything on it. Travis has got one. I sent one off to him, but I've been so wrapped up in this Helium in the Wild tour coming up and trying to prep for it. The thing's been sitting out in my front yard. I'm assuming counting people, but with firmware updates, I haven't seen any of the data come through, and I think it's a fixable problem. I just haven't gotten around to fixing it yet. So I think that's it. Travis, have you gotten it working on your end? I know there's one other guy I sent one to in Texas to. I think we're going to do some use case or case study thing on that. But I haven't gotten mine working where it's like I'm super happy with it. Yeah, Travis updated the firmware. There's this problem with there's this problem with the company didn't think that Helium was kind of worth developing for at first. And now I think they're getting a bunch of requests for it. And they're starting to update firmware faster and faster. But it's still not ready for prime time. So yeah, throw it on the GK org. One of the things I'm going to do with the people counter is I noticed that I got one in my front yard. The closest hotspot is like 400 meters away, and the RSSI is too low, if I'm understanding this right, for the people counter to pass enough information through to the hotspot. Like it's just too weak. You can't get all the information through. And so I'm realizing that the antenna in there must be super tiny. And so I'm thinking about drilling a hole under the people counter and adding an external antenna and seeing what that does, because that's about the only thing that I've got the technical expertise to do on these things, and see if that works. But yeah.
No, I definitely just talking about that, holding pen idea kind of thing. I'd love to see more of that. Definitely, I think anyone that wants to come into sensor dev or sensor usage and talk about sensors will be met by like hundreds of people that want to talk about their project and help them, succeed in it. So I think hackathons are the thing to do. You know, let's do some hackathons of prizes, and see who can come up with the best ideas and take those on and take it into a grant or something. It's like the IoT, yeah, and a train as well. Having
I was wondering what that was. My video is lagging here. That's funny. Let's see. So maybe what we do is at GK is do some kind of hackathon prize, and maybe that's the best use of all of the soul that we gather for these helium. God, I forgot the name. The Here Be Dragon mapping contest. Like if
here be dragging.
it's $5 each for the soul, and there's 49 items. There's 50 of those. 50 times 5, $250. Like we'll use that as a prize for the hackathon and do something cool. Maybe that's the best use of that Solana or soul.
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense. We could definitely do some. We could definitely help out with some prizes and things. I'm sure quite a few companies would really. Like for example, what's the best project you could build with a rack wizards block kit? And the winner would get a few of them to actually build it and put it in the wild. I could definitely help with some coding to help people get going and things like that. Yeah, it'd be cool to see. Like I was talking to someone the other day about Mappers. Mappers is great. It's a great project. I love that Joey's done it, but he hasn't got the most time in the world. What we really need is people to come up and say, "Hey, I've got some time. Let me throw away some features. Let me throw some time into some features for it to extend it." Like Mappers could really use some decay to the data. It could also use some filtering on elevation and things. And that kind of work could be done, and it could be done quite easily. It's just not done, because there's not enough people around.
So Neil, you do way more of this than I do. I'm pretty sure there's like a sensor dev thing in the Helium Discord, right? Like that's the easiest place to go to. I don't need to reinvent the wheel and start something up.
Yeah, sensor dev's great. There's always people that can help you through most projects. There's also sensor usage as well. If you just you don't want to create sensors, but you want to use something.
Yep.
People can advise you on which ones to use, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great for an ongoing conversation, but to actually sort of collect projects and interest and create collaborations, I'm not sure a textual Discord is the best place for it. So sort of having something like Helium Jobs,
Yep.
where it's just advertising for ideas and projects.
It's funny because Nick Huff and I did that. Well, Nick did that. 8 months ago, 9 months ago, more. And it's still there. Heliumjobs.io. That'd be a great place to post. And then Travis has got his Helium hacks once a week. That's a great place to drop in. And then if there's anything I can do for any of you on the GK server, if I can start a channel for you, I know I've done that for at least one group that's like a geeky group, because there's a DM limit of 10 on Discord. If you get more than 10 people together and want to talk about some project, I'm more than happy to start a channel just for you, make it private to you, like whatever you want. But yeah, do that stuff. Let's see. Action had a question. If I secretly like Cadena background because of the Cadena looking background, like no, I just pulled his background off of Canva and chucked it up there, so it's better than nothing. But maybe I should do like a specific Gristle King background if this looks like some blockchain that I don't know anything about. Let's see.
Chad's asking if HNT will be easier to buy once we move to Solana.
Should be.
Worth talking about a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, Solana's available so many other places, and there's so many different wallet supports for it. So Helium instantly gets all of those. So yes,
yeah,
technically we get DeFi. Technically we can get liquidity pool and all of that fun jazz from DeFi. So yeah, should get better.
yeah. Okay, so I'll put up. Let's see. I'll put up like a, I don't know. Maybe the best place to go to is Helium Jobs Finder. I'll think of like a way to connect, to make it easier to connect people with ideas to people who have skills, and that's always a question. R4WK. I'm not sure how I pronounce that, but I know, pretty sure I know you are, and you've been super helpful and generous with your time. So that'd be cool to connect you with a couple folks, because I think you've been talking about WizBlock, helping people with WizBlock stuff. So, we need it to be easy.
Leave NYC. Move out of NYC, Chad, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 49 other states. There's 48 other states that are pretty easy to deal with crypto. Although New York was pretty cool. Let's see. Tell them what the name is. R4WK. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure I missed something in the notes. Let's see. I'm just like scrolling back through the notes to see what I missed. There's some suspect thing that's borderline. All right. I think we skip past all that stuff. Huh. Okay. Cool. What else? Oh, Rack Wireless is sponsoring the Here Be Dragons thing. I thought that was pretty cool of them, and that goes back to a thing that you had said, Neil, where like these companies are all looking for ways to help the community out. That's super cool. Jose's been awesome about that, running that, and I think Fernando over at Rack has been super helpful with that. So yeah, Rack is sponsoring that. I think I've talked to Ann at Bobcat. She's talked about donating a couple hotspots to serve as raffle prizes in a couple places. And Adrian at Linkstot, I think, is providing 2 hotspots we're going to raffle off at London, or do something with at London. So maybe they go as prizes to the winner of the Here Be Dragons, the mapping thing, or they go somewhere else. And they're also going to provide a couple of like swag things. If you missed the Helium House in New York, they've got a bunch of these rad little earbuds, which I could have fucking used today. Out of the house, I didn't grab them, so I'll be picking up a pair of those just as a cool little backup. So,
and if they make it in time, we'll have some mappers to give away. So,
you're
some
gonna have some mappers as well, yeah.
Well, no, we'll have some tabs to give away to people to try. So I think we're getting a bunch to give away to anyone that comes. So,
okay, cool. Yeah. I think it's funny. Like Daniel and I got to figure out like how the whole thing's going to work and how we score it and how fast the scores come in. But circling back to the initial thing is like we know where the thing is going to start. So it's going to start at this RSA house at I think 10 a.m. I think I got access to that place at 8:30. So I'll set up for whatever, an hour and a half, and then people will come in. We'll hand out the mappers, and then maybe we do some of the tracker stuff as well, and then figure out like, okay, is it not worthwhile? Is it like reasonable to go to Big Ben and whatever Shakespeare's Playhouse or whatever it is, and like the next 9 things and swim across the Thames, or is it like, no, Nick, you can only do like 4 things within 3 hours in London because it's so difficult to get around. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure you'll have great coverage on the underground, so you've got to rely on people walking.
Yeah, and it's not reasonable to drive there. It's just too packed.
yeah,
It'll probably be too busy. Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be like a walking / running / maybe Neil biking event.
It could be. There's plenty of city bikes out there and Brompton bikes and stuff that people can.
Scooters.
I was going to say, like who can get the highest check-in or the most number of hotspots, and then it doesn't really matter where they go, does it? You can, and then go hide a dragon somewhere. Go hide a fluffy dragon with a.
Because I'm there the day before, and I've kept an open schedule. So maybe that's the cool thing to do is like Lee and I will go take this dragon and we'll put it somewhere and like take a picture of it and make it a little bit of a treasure hunt. And if you get that, you'll definitely get whatever, a mapper sent to you or something. Love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Super cool. A boat along the Thames, Action Crypto, send me a high-res version of your logo. Dude, I'll send you the link, but it'll be like Gristle King /media. But yeah, thank you. That'd be awesome. for a cool background. And then a helium house in Toronto for Andre. Yeah, I like it. So here's the deal: is that Helium Foundation will support to kind of a pretty small amount, like a reasonably small amount, any gathering. So if you're doing that, then rock and roll. I put together this Europe thing and just said like, hey, I'll put together as many of these things as I can. I've managed to blow way over budget, so all the money that I'd set aside for myself to kind of pay myself to cruise around is going to mostly this fucking London thing and buying people drinks. But yeah, Keenan is another Canadian. You might be able to work together with him and do some Toronto stuff. I'm at the shop, so Kurt just came in to open up Paleo Treats. It's almost time to close this down and open up Cookie Biz. So yeah, I love it. I love the idea of doing more meetups everywhere, and I think I feel a lot of pressure to make sure that this Helium in the Wild thing goes awesome, so that I get the chance to do it in more places, not just Northern Europe or Canada, but I'd love to go out to the developing world, to go throughout Latin America, and just I think we need to, like, the next big push is to show how do you use helium out in the wild, how do you build a business on it, how do you crush this thing.
Yeah, that's where it's most valuable, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and Canada is a small country, Keenan, so people can basically just drive for an hour to get to you.
Exactly. They can just drive. Everyone can meet up in one centre location, right? It's fine.
Yeah. Just be like an evening meetup. The Great Canada. Cool. Well, we got a couple minutes left. Is there anything else that you guys have for this week? I think I got so discombobulated I dropped all my notes, and so we're just kind of running on the seat of the pants stuff.
I've got nothing else really. Just I guess everybody needs to hang tight while the chain gets fixed and do other things. Don't look at your hotspot. Look at a sensor.
Okay. Oh, Travis is asking about the mobile setup. Right now, Travis, it is just my computer, so this is just like a 2013 Mac. I'll show you all the shit that I tried to set up. Cutting out parts of foam and making things awesome, but under pressure, I failed miserably to set anything up, and I just went with what the laptop has. So there's a ton of shit here that I'll figure out how to do, but right now the mobile setup is, yeah. Not
it's
there.
In progress.
Yeah, it's a 9-year-old computer. What's the stat? Something like 90% of Canada's population is within 50 miles of the U.S. border. Yeah, America's hat. Canada. Cool. Am I trick-or-treating with a people counter? I could probably 619. I could count the people who come by. Maybe I'll see if I can get that thing up and running today and rock and roll. And then we'll do a San Diego meetup when I get back from Europe, because that is taking all of my attention right now. And yeah, I want to do a really good job with that. Lee was telling me last night, he's like, I'm super stressed. She's like, dude, we're just going to have fun and don't worry about it. I'm like, no, there's an opportunity here to do something extra awesome, and I'll take the stress. So it isn't about the AV quality. I'm falling into the trap that it is, and that it's really important to have high quality. Maybe not. Maybe it's the content that's king. So, all right, Neil, you good? Dave, you good? Anything else we want to chuck in here?
No,
good.
Sorry, I've got a brain fog from COVID, so.
Okay. Get some coffee up in you. And I'm super psyched to see you guys in 2 weeks, something like that. Bo, I know you were on here. I'm super psyched to see you in London and or Barcelona. Really pumped to see everybody in Lisbon. And then Paris will be a short trip. But Paul at Disc 91, I get to spend the night with him, I think, the day of Paris. We go down to his place and do an in-depth discussion on kind of the back end of Helium stuff. So psyched to kind of spread the good word and do all of the things that we can do with Helium. And then if you guys have any questions about anything with Solana or running an IoT business or the back end of Helium or smart cities, that's the whole point of the tour. So reach out in my Discord or send me an email or wherever, tag me in basically any place on the internet. I'll find it and do my best to answer your question. So cool. Now would not be a good time to move your hotspot, Cali Crypto Dude. Mel? No, don't do anything right now. Go work on sensor stuff. That's the deal. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it. Neil and Dave, we usually do like an after thing. I don't think it's worth doing right now. This thing is such a fucking disaster that I'd just be wasting your time. So, you guys, on
Okay.
We'll talk to you later. I'm out. Thanks for coming, everybody.
So,
All right.
guys.
Bye bye.